Thank you for joining me on my masterclass. Now, today we're going to be talking about why Africa is poor and what we can do to change it. Why Africa is poor and what we can do to change it. Now, you see, I thought a lot before I did this video. I almost didn't want to do it because, like, I just didn't want to come across as somebody who was putting Africa down. But then, like I said, okay, if people like me with the level that God has placed me in and with the number of followers and subscribers I have, if I don't address this, then it's not going to be addressed. And then a lot of people are not going to be aware of it. And then what's going to happen is that this cycle of poverty that affects a lot of our people it's just going to continue. And as you know, I've traveled all around Africa. A lot of people, they followed me on my social media pages and they see how I traveled. I went to Tanzania in 2018 and I was surprised at how many people in Tanzania knew me. I mean, there's no part of Africa I haven't been to, north, east, west, everywhere. And, I've traveled deeply and I've seen a lot of what I want to talk about. I've seen it all across Africa and it's something that we want to change. Well, basically something happened. I take brain supplements because I like to think. There's something called ideating. I like to ideate. Ideating is just meditation for the benefit of getting ideas. And I do that a lot. I do that a lot. I do that. My wife and my kids, when they go to bed, in that quiet of the night, I ideate. And I wake up before them, even though I go to sleep after them. I wake up before them, and I also do the same thing. And one of the things that helps me do this is I take brain supplements. And then, just in case, like, some people think that maybe I'm making this up, so these are the brain supplements I take. You see, it's called Mental Calm. Mental Calm. It's herbal. It's herbal. So there's nothing there. It's just herbal. And then I take omega-3 and I eat almost exclusively fish because fish has a lot of omega-3. And well, if you into supplements, omega-3 is like brain food. So I eat that a lot. I eat fish. And so I wanted to bring these brain supplements to Nigeria, specifically, and then also other West African countries. I have a friend, we're very close, we're almost like twins. He's got malls across Nigeria, all over Nigeria. He's got malls. Some of you might know him. I don't want to mention his name, but you guys know how close we are. And then I spoke to him. I said, listen, I want to bring these brain supplements and I want to sell them. Maybe I want to sell them in your malls. And then he goes and, look, Reno, don't waste your time. You know what? If you and I want to make money, well, how about, come on? You live in California. Can't you get some? And then he was a bit, cagey, and then he said, yeah. He just came out of it and said, can't you get some sexual, enhancements? Why are you bringing the brain enhancement, brain supplements? If you can get some sexual enhancement, that is what we sell in Nigeria. People are going to buy that. People are not going to buy, brain supplements, brain enhancement. And then I was thinking about it, I was thinking about it. I mean, I didn't know if it was true or not, so I asked my assistant, in Nigeria, Pastor Favor, I asked him to just do some research, and I talked to my brother. And my brother laughed and said, look, your friend is telling you the truth. And then, I thought about that because, like I said, I think deep. I think very, very deeply. And I think maybe it's because for a long time I was an only child. So maybe that's the loneliness affected me and made me a deep thinker. Probably, I don't know if that's the reason. So I kept on thinking about it. And then I said, okay, you know what? I want to research because I need to have some data, some scientific data to back what my friend was telling me. So I started studying YouTube patterns of countries, and then I wanted to see the biggest YouTube channel in every country. And it took me a while to do that, but I was able to do that. And then, in European countries, in the West, in European countries, I found out that the biggest YouTubers are people who tend to educate, who tend to, give investment ideas, world generation, educate, talk about science. For instance, like in Europe, for instance, the biggest YouTuber is a Swedish guy. He's called PewDiePie. PewDiePie. I don't know if that's how he pronounces it, or maybe he calls it PewDiePie. So the name is gonna flash up on the screen. He's got about 111 million subscribers, and what he does, he's a gamer. He talks about gaming, he talks about coding, he talks about NFTs. NFTs are non-fungible tokens, one of the fastest ways to make wealth right now. He talks about cryptocurrency, he talks about mining. So that's the biggest in Europe. He's a Swedish guy. And then in Germany, the biggest YouTuber in Germany is a channel called I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. It's called Kurzgesagt. You know, so it's Kurzgesagt. So it's going to flash up on the screen. Now, the amazing thing about this Kurzgesagt is that all they talk about is technology and science. And then, you know, it's so surprising, they've got 17.6 million subscribers only talking about science and technology, just educating people about science and technology, and then things that they can do to make their lives better, to create wealth, to create health. You know, and then in France, you know, the biggest YouTuber in France is a guy called Squeezie. I think it's Squeezie, yes, Squeegee. And then this guy has about 14.3 million subscribers, and basically he's a French version of the Swedish guy PewDiePie. And so he talks about gaming, talks about life learning, talks about wealth, talks about NFTs, talks about cryptocurrency. And then I started looking at our African countries. Like in Nigeria, the biggest YouTube channel is a guy called Mark Angel. And then he's into comedy, he's into skits, Mark Angel Comedy. And then in Ghana, you know, the biggest YouTuber in Ghana is Sarkodie. Sarkodie is a rapper, he's a Ghanaian rapper. You know, and then in South Africa, the biggest YouTube channel is Trevor Noah. He's a comedian. And then in Ethiopia, the biggest YouTuber is Hope Music, which is just basically entertainment music. So I picked Nigeria, and I picked South Africa, and I picked Ethiopia. Nigeria is the largest country in the whole of Africa. Second is Ethiopia, and then South Africa is the biggest economy. You know, it competes with Nigeria. Sometimes Nigeria is the biggest economy, sometimes South Africa. And I took Ghana because Ghana is the first African country, black African country to gain independence. And you begin to see that the biggest YouTube channels in black Africa tend to be about entertainment, skit makers. You know, in Nigeria, you know, it's just the biggest skit maker, the next comedian, the next musician, the top 10. There's nothing about education. So it's about entertainment. And so I was asking myself, is it that we as black Africans, we prefer to be entertained rather than to be educated? And then let's ask ourselves that question, because obviously we can't be racist against our own self. So we have to ask ourselves that question. You know, look at what my friend told me, and then look at what I discovered. And so when we think about that, you know, we look at a lot of our culture, especially our contemporary culture. You know, how we like to glorify, you know, like a lot of what, you know, pleasure. You know, we like to glorify pleasure. You know, pleasure. You know, if you want a video to trend, you know, in an African country, and not just in Africa, and also in Black America, you know, it just has to have a lot of sexiness. You know, a lot of nice women. You know, a lot of nice cars. You know, expensive cars. And then I was thinking, you know, here in California, you know, a lot of rich people, in fact, all my rich friends, all the rich people I know, give me 1 second, sorry. Now, all the rich people I know, you know, in California, nobody buys cars. We don't buy cars. I don't buy cars. You know, and then every year we're driving new cars. Now, what does that mean? Do we steal the cars? No. We lease cars because cars are liability, except it's an antique car. All cars are liability. You know, they are losing value fast. Their values are not going up. So I tend to buy assets. And then, you know, the opposite is we see that in Nigeria, because I've been around Nigeria a lot. You know, people, especially people who don't have assets, they buy cars. And then when I was explaining to somebody in Nigeria, you know what, you could lease a car, you know, and then take it back, you know, every year and then get another one. I said, why? Buy a car, you know, you're a big boy, you have to oppress. And I said, but what are you oppressing? You this is a liability. Why should you be buying a liability? You know, if you want to oppress, to use his own words, why don't you buy, you know, like real estate? Why don't you, you know? And the guy was like, man, Reno, you don't stay for Yankee. And that's what he said. So, you know, we have a culture right now. It's not always been this way, but we have a culture right now that glorifies, you know, that glorifies bling bling, flash. Image is everything. That's what we say. Image is everything. In almost every country in the world, Big Brother is dying out, but not in Africa. Not in Africa. Big Brother is a big thing there in Africa. It's because look at it. It's it fits in. Like a lot of nudity, a lot of nakedness, a lot of drama. And then if you look at what's happening, these countries where Big Brother came from, it's died out. The big thing in these countries is actually something like The Apprentice, or Dragon's Den in Europe, in England. Dragon's Den actually came from, I heard that it came from the Netherlands. But anyway, that's what's happening. Entrepreneurship program whereby people compete on ideas, and then they get money. It's not thriving in Africa. Why? So this is one of the things that we have to look at our culture, especially our contemporary culture, because it's not always been like this. Pre-colonial African culture was not like this. What has happened? What has happened? How can we change it? How can we change it? And then I did a study. I was researching how can we change it. The way we can change it, basically is that we have to look at the environment that, we're growing in, or we are growing up in, and our children are growing up in. Because a lot of these things, a lot of people, we are creatures of our environment. And in most part of Africa, we have a lot people wanting to live in low rent areas. And then in these low rent areas, because obviously when you're living in a low rent area, your neighbors, also low rent people, at the end of the day, it impacts on you, it impacts on your psyche. If you think back to your first memories are of your childhood home and your childhood neighborhood. And so the low rent area in Africa, I'm telling you, I've traveled all around Africa. You see that low rent culture. You see like a lot of African towns, they don't have a library, they don't have a sports center, they don't have parks. But what they do have, they have sports betting places. They've got pool places. They've got brothels. They've got churches. I'm talking about these miracle churches, financial breakthrough churches. So the first thing that you have to do if you want to break out from this pattern is that you have to move out of a low rent environment. You have to move out of a low rent neighborhood. It doesn't matter if you have to stay in a small place in a high rent neighborhood. See, staying in a tiny place in a high rent neighborhood is better than staying in a large place in a low rent neighborhood, because you see, you are commingling in a way whereby it's not going to help you. It's not going to help your psyche. It's not going to help your children's psyche. And the first 5 years of your children's life matters a lot. So you're going to have your children learning habits. You're going to have your children, like picking up things that they cannot unlearn later on in years in their life. So if you're living in a high rent neighborhood, and that's why I tell people, even if you can't afford a high rent neighborhood, and even if you cannot afford a small place in a high rent neighborhood, occasionally take your children out of that low rent neighborhood, out of that, to use a word like maybe, I'm sorry to use this word, like ghetto or slum. Occasionally take them out to like good neighborhoods. Take them out to nice places so that it can expand their minds, especially when they are when their minds is in that formative years, 1 to 5, so that it matters a lot. It affects the children, because first and foremost, a lot of people in those low rent neighborhoods, like they're not thinking about things like businesses. They're not thinking about things like how to break out of that cycle. What a lot of particularly what a lot of the young men will be thinking about is that that girl, that babe, there's a lot of like what my friend told me about, sexual enhancement culture in those kinds of neighborhoods. And then if your child is growing up, that's what your child is going to see, and then that's what your child is going to want to become like. And so you have to break out from that environment. If you look at it, if you read scripture, Abraham had to leave his neighborhood and go to another neighborhood. Even Christ had to even leave his neighborhood and go to another neighborhood. So you want to break out of that low rent neighborhood, move to a higher rent neighborhood to change, because you're going to see a different culture. And then that culture that you're seeing is going to help you feed your habits of success. You're going to see people who are focusing on buying assets. People who are, yes, there's going to be a time for entertainment. There's going to be a time for women, but that's when you're going to get, like, how would I say, like, you're going to get like a priority straight. You want to start up a business. You've seen your neighbors, your neighbors are starting up small and medium scale businesses. You've seen your neighbors, they're focusing on education. And then, it's going to make you want to be like your neighbors. And then you see your neighbors like, okay, when that libido comes up as a young man, and then, it's hormones are coming, what happens? They want to get married. Not that they just want to start sleeping around with neighborhood girls. They want to get married. And then you're seeing that, so it's affecting your psyche. And so it's not just affecting your psyche, it's affecting your children's psyche. And that's the only way that we're going to break out. We have to change this culture that we're seeing in our low rent cities. And most of Black Africa is just low rent. So we got to change that culture, and then it's not going to be easy. It's going to start with you. So you change it, and then your children, they have a new culture, and then their children, and then you're not just helping your lineage, you're also helping Africa, Black Africa, by doing that. Now, if it's possible, if you live in Nigeria and South Africa, if you can buy the next this day that's coming up, I'm going to be writing about this, in detail, because this is YouTube, and I only have so much time. Let me look at the time. I only have so much time, and I can't put all my thoughts and ideas, down. But I'm going to be writing about this, And my name is Rena Omokri. I hope that this message has gotten across to you. If it has, and you have questions about it, you can put them in the comment section. Just ask your questions in the comment section, or you can go to my verified social media profiles and you ask your questions there. And then my staff bring them to me, they'll create them and they bring them to me, and I'll respond to them. And I want to also remind you, I do not have a WhatsApp forum, I do not have a Telegram channel, I do not have a Gmail email address. Scammers have seen that my videos tend to go viral, and so they create fake YouTube profiles with my image, and then they approach people in the comment section, and then they tell them helpline, guideline, I will help you make money, and then they end up duping these people. Don't be duped. My name is Rena Omokri. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.